Hey everyone, welcome back to EMC3 Chat. Today is episode 6 where we're going to be talking about the eclipse season, part 2. You guys know us. My name is Matthew Baniak and I'm joined by Elizabeth Robinson and Chris Corsini and everyone who is listening and watching this on our YouTube channel. We have the lovely Rogue who is our ASL interpreter. So buckle up because we are going to be serving, sipping, and spilling all of the spiritual tea. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm drinking a lemon ginger tea today. What are you guys sipping on?
Changed it up. I got peppermint.
No, okay. I'm back to hibiscus once again.
Very good. So eclipse season, we already did part 1 before, but this one is a bit more interesting because we are going to have the full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn on July 5th. And why this is so important is because we're now going to be finishing off the series of eclipses that are happening in the Cancer Capricorn axes. And as some astrologer buffs may know who are listening, the axes changed beginning of May. I believe it was May 5th, so that the north node is now in Gemini and the south node is now in Sagittarius. So since around January of 2019, we've been dealing a lot with these energies of Cancer and Capricorn, specifically parenting, parenthood, inner child work. And so this last eclipse, full moon in Capricorn, is important because A, we're closing off energy like any moon cycle from the last 6 months. So think of where you were during Capricorn season, the end of December 2019 to January of 2019, because we're closing up that cycle. And we're also closing up the cycle of the past 18 to 20 months. So it is a really big, significant time to reflect, to release, to heal like we would with any full moon. But since this is with a lunar eclipse, it's going to be major shedding, which is why I think it's important just to talk about it and discuss what that means to everyone listening.
Amazing. Yeah. So where should we start? Should we start with what that means with this full moon?
Yeah, I think so. I think, again, with the whole energies of it being with Cancer and Capricorn, for those who have that as their sun sign or rising or moon or just predominant energy in their natal chart, me having a lot of Capricorn energy and a Capricorn rising, I felt a significant difference. I feel like I'm not even the same person from 2019 till now. And so I know both Elizabeth and Chris are Gemini, so you guys are going to feel a significant change as well coming up. Chris has had a wild tarot card fly out for those listening. So Chris,
like, if you heard that, guys, it like literally flew across the screen.
And it was just as you were saying, I feel like I'm a completely different person. And in my head, I heard, I can't even begin to explain to you how different my life is from like this beginning to now. And the card that flew out is Strength. So this card is Major Arcana, first and foremost. This is universal energies. This is fate, destiny, etc. This is energetic milestones, and it also is represented by the lion. So this is Leo energy. When I see this, I think of Leo. I then think of the ruling planet, the sun. You then think of the sun as identity. So that is so on point, flying out in the middle of, I'm a changed person with like, boom, new identity. And the bottom of the deck is literally 2 of coins reversed, which is so done with investing our energy, time, money into this old shit that doesn't work, like juggling balls that we don't need to carry. Like, this whole 2020 for me has been not my circus, not my monkeys. Like, I am not dealing with external shit that is not mine. And like, that comes with standing in your power, like this Leo energy with the Strength card. And even the magician behind it, it's like, guys, we are really stepping into our power. And yeah, I've noticed just like the craziest changes, not even just on like an energetic and emotional level, but like even my body. Like, I look different when I look at myself in the mirror now. Like, I feel different. I'm just everything is changing. So it's like completely undeniable. Did you pull any cards yet, Liz?
No, I haven't, but I really think it was amazing that you pulled the strength card, especially as, you know, as we're filming this, we're talking about the full moon. You had a look on your face come through. Say it.
I'm so sorry. The last thing I need to say is that, like, I got chills down my whole body when I looked down. These are the only 3 cards in the whole deck that have the infinity symbol. And the infinity symbol is above the magician's head, above the woman who is balancing out the lion's intense energy. And it is the symbolism here with the 2 of coins. And if you look at this, again, the man and the woman. So we are now literally coming into like divine balance of the masculine, the feminine. It's yellow, solar plexus, new identity, new energy use. And I'm sorry, I just looked down and was like, holy shit, the only 3 cards I have are the universal connection cards. Like, this is, sorry, you go ahead now, my dear.
Well, I think that's amazing. It's such a great thing to tie in together, right? Because that's so significant with symbology. And I think that when we consider what has changed about our identity, it's with the strength card, it's looking at our ego in the eye. We are overcoming our triggers, and we are, you know, not letting things bother us anymore. We're able to water off the duck's back, as a good motto. One of my favorite drag queens says, water off a duck's back. And that's what the strength card is. And stepping into a new identity is not letting those things bug you as much. Because how much energy do we spend being like, oh my gosh, I'm so worried, I'm so anxious. This is taking so much energy out of your focus. So that's what I think is really beautiful there, is because like you yourself have not changed. You have just grown and become stronger. And the cards that I have pulled is the Queen of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords. And I think that, you know, even with this card, for those that can't see it, it is a guardian, a tree guardian, and a baby guardian that she's holding. And it's, you know, acknowledging that inner child within and kind of holding them up and giving them that attention that they deserve. And that's what the strength card is about. It's like those triggers, the inner kid crying. How do you respond to your emotional system? And then with the this is the Knight of Swords. It's like, you know, bringing clarity, bringing your messages forward, making movement on your identity now, letting it bring you places. So this is a very powerful full moon.
Yeah, and I think those 2 cards, Elizabeth, with the Queen of Pentacles and then the Knight of Swords, is literally the beautiful message of like what we've learned with the Cancer and Capricorn energy of like stability and groundedness and inner body, time, energy, and resources. And now Knight of Swords, I think that both applies to Gemini and Sagittarius of like quick, know what they want, sharp tongue, go, go, go. But as we've seen with 2020, it's going to be a different type of go, go, go. It's going to be towards things that we need to learn, need to focus on. It might not be the traditional, but it's what we've actually needed this whole time. And Geminis are so good at using their words and thoughts to inspire and to motivate. And then with Sagittarius being in the South node now for the next 18 months or so, it is going to be like travel is going to look a lot different. And so how can we, even right now, the fact that we're all connected is pretty uncanny. Like if you were to say this like 25 years ago, you could have 4 people just like on a screen, chilling,
Right.
podcast from anywhere in the world. Like even to like a little sidebar to Saturn being retrograde in Aquarius up until July 1st, it'll make a little sidebar back into Capricorn. But the whole energy of Saturn in Aquarius is advancements in technology. The last time that Saturn was in Aquarius was 1991 when the internet was born. So we're going to see so much more with like that influence for the next 2.5 years with this Sagittarius South node of how learning and travel is going to just be changed and revolutionized. Like it is going to be a very beautiful, expansion. Like I feel like, hopefully I'm making sense, but I just feel like the next 2 years are going to be revolutionary. And like what we haven't even seen like for the past 20 years, what's happened, it's like we're just moving into a way better time is what I'm feeling after doing all of this grounded work and inner child work. And now Gemini and Sagittarius can pick that and run with it and really show us what we need to hear and know.
Right. And I think for our listeners too, is can we explain what the North and the South Node are, just so that our listeners have a better idea of what that even means?
Totally. So the North Node is kind of in someone's natal chart. That's like their life path of what they're meant to accomplish. One of my favorite examples is like Oprah Winfrey's North Node is in Capricorn. Capricorn is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And so wherever the North Node currently is, it's like the people being born in those 2 years, 18 months, they're meant to really resonate that energy and to bring it to the forefront. So with the North Node being in Gemini now, it's going to be like communication, intellect. How can we use our words to empower? The South Node, Chris elegantly put one time, is like the asshole, or where things are being released or things that no longer serve us. And so the South Node is like karmic releasing. And so that is going to be like a big purging around Sagittarius of like outdated higher learning that no longer serves us. What have you been taught that you can now step back and being like, I've been taught this is one way, especially around Black Lives Matter movement. That's been a centuries in the making, like deep seated. So Sagittarius can be like, we're now unlearning all of these patterns for all generations. And now with the North Node being in Gemini, it's like new thoughts, new ideas, new words to empower the collective.
Amazing. And, you know, I guess just for an additional clarifier, correct me if I'm wrong, but the North and the South Node in actual astrology is the moon, right? It's the North and the South Node of the moon where they are in the sky. Is that correct?
That sounds right.
Yeah, I believe, because like I remember when I found out, I thought it was the Earth itself, like our North and South
Okay,
of the Earth, but I found out it's actually the North and South Node of the moon. Which is just interesting because when we think like, you know, planets, asteroids and stuff like that, what is the North and South Node? Well, it's the North and South Node of the moon.
It's an area of the sky though, I believe. It's not, it's like, it's where it has to do with the moon's transit and the direction, or not necessarily direction, but like the area in which it passes.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify for our listeners because I know that when you start to learn about the North and South Node, it can be a bit confusing. But.
Yeah, you kind of have to look at astrology like it's in the sky, but then all of the planets and everything like moves through that playing field. So like and again, like even Matthew and I have those like workshops and shit out that really get into like explaining that stuff. So like if you guys are interested in really diving into it, or even chatting with Matt one-on-one, he can actually like explain this to you in person. But I do find when you were mentioning the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Sagittarius, I pulled one other card, and it's the card of Sagittarius reversed. And then I have the Magician here, which is also traditionally a card of Gemini, but it's upright. And when you think about what Sagittarius rules, is a lot of things, but one of them is like collective beliefs and faith and higher learning. And for it to be reversed here is like us disassociating ourselves with those core beliefs and those like that faith and like these things that at one point, you know, it's religion, so to speak. So like this coming up reversed and then matched with the Magician upright, you want to be letting go of all of that Sagittarius energy that we no longer believe in. And then Gemini energy being like the brainstormer and the communicator. And like, it's like now we're thinking of new ways to believe in things, new ways to communicate what we all believe and find some sort of shared ground. Because Gemini really sort of represents community and such too, right? Like Gemini loves connecting, it's the neighbors, it's the socializing. So like, I just find it interesting that, and again, 3 of 4 of these cards are major arcana. So like this is a huge turning point for us as a collective, individuals. And yeah, I'm interested to see, oh my God, like by 2023, I think we're really going to be in like a whole new fucking world. Like with different roles. And like, it's just right now, because all of the change is happening, it's quite unnerving for a lot of us, but it's exciting to say the least.
Yeah. And like I pulled the Tower and the Seven of Wands. And so I think that really kind of feeds off of what you just said, because like we're going to have like, we're in the midst of the shift, right? Like 2020 is the shift itself. And you're kind of understanding who you are amidst that shift. What will it mean to walk forward and, you know, to experience these quote unquote traumas, these, you know, awareness of what's happening in the world and what it means for you to have gone through them. And how are you going to stand your ground and continue to make changes and to be in alignment with yourself? Because it beautifully, for those that are watching, like the Seven of Wands has this bird on the back of a guardian. And it kind of symbolizes that those wings that can sprout out as soon as you accept that you're going through things, you're accepting what it is that you're facing, and you're allowing yourself to move forward, and you're picking your battles wisely. And you're just being consciously aware of what it feels like to be human. I hope that's not too fluffy.
No, it's also like take off. You know what I mean? It's like spread your wings and fly. Like, holy shit, you've been doing the same thing for so long. It's time to move on. We're basically getting pushed out of the nest this year. So like, yeah, definitely enjoy the flight or the restriction, seeing as everything's happening with Sag. Okay, Matt. Well, what else do we have going on, I guess, for this eclipse?
Well, I think, just in case, I know sometimes we may think it's common sense just because we're so immersed in it, but with a full moon in Capricorn, full moons again are a great time for releasing, for purging in the sign of Capricorn. I know for those who are watching, when Chris lifted up his card, there was like the Five of Pentacles that just like flash. It might be on the bottom of your deck. So it's like Capricorn, it's really about money and structure. And I know a lot of people right now are uncertain around finances, around their job, around making a shift, around either. And so with a full moon in Capricorn, you can really release a lot of those scarcity mindsets around money. Or if there's one thing that you've been really holding on to, or that's kind of imprisoned you in your mind, this full moon, especially with this Capricorn energy of structure and finance, will be a good time. Because again, we always say that eclipses do a lot of the work for us, especially if this has been an ongoing struggle or mindset since the beginning of 2019, right? And so this will be a really good time to do the work and to sit down and be asking yourself, what limitations around money, no matter what level you're on, can you release so that you can continue moving forward and addressing your higher self and those needs and your wants?
That even goes back to like the previous episode where we're talking about, you know, how we show up for ourselves, how we care for ourselves instead of only caring for others. And like, I notice a lot of the people that I work with, like my clients and stuff, there is this like, again, this program of them thinking that like, this is what they deserve based on their condition or based on, of course, there's so many factors, and I'm not trying to like belittle anyone's experience or to like say that it isn't hard work to like change that over time. But trust me, like from what I see working with a lot of people, there is this energy of like, they really truly believe that they don't deserve better. And like, they do deserve better. And there is so much abundance in this fucking world that we can all, like Jeff Bezos or whatever doesn't need $1 trillion. Like, and you know what? Even with him having $1 trillion, I can still make $1 billion. You can still make $1 billion. Like there's still enough. There's still enough with everybody having excess. And it's like, I don't know where we've been conditioned to think, this is also very North American, to be conditioned to think that like there isn't enough. And that's where the competitive nature shows up. And that's where we then believe like, well, I just get the shit end of the stick, so I'm just going to hold on to it. Like that's the Five of Coins energy. It's that lack mindset, scarcity. And this doesn't just talk about money. This is resources. This is time. This is attention. This is love. This is like, you know, like even with the Six of Coins there, like this is all they have is this little bit to give me, but they have so much available to them that they could give me, but they just leave me begging for more. It's like the next 2 years really are going to be people realizing, like, I have the power to do more with this strength card and this magician card. I can do my own shit. And if I'm unique to my own calling, abundance will follow. And like some of us can't, like Matthew said in the last episode, you know, they have a mortgage, we have children, we have these things, but like we can always find a little bit more alignment. So like find the little bit more alignment that, you know, whatever that is to you, and a little bit more money will come, a little bit more opportunity will come. Like it will follow. It is literally built into your DNA. It's like, if you find your alignment, the abundance will follow. That's like the secret of the stars. So like chat with Matthew, let him help you find your alignment. Oh girl, let Liz help you work your way through the mental blocks, and I'll do my best to clear that energy right the fuck out. We have triple trifecta here. And if you're deaf, we can have Rogue join us, and we've got the interpreter ready. Like, we got what you need, y'all. The resources are available to us. That's also a magician fucking quality. He has all the resources that he needs. So like, stop with this bullshit of like, woe is me, I'll never have it. Not with that fucking mindset, you won't. And Matthew will be the first to tell you that.
True.
Yeah. Matt loves to bitch at me and Elizabeth when we're like, I hate this, it'll never work out. He's like, not with that mindset. It's true though. Like, it really does manifest internally first. And we do need to step into that new identity. And like, this eclipse, this full moon release is basically going to force us through what we've been so uncomfortably trying to navigate or refusing to look at. So like, is that really sort of all we need to look at for this? I mean, I know we're going to go further on Patreon and add a couple more tips, but like for the first half of this discussion, like, is there anything that you think we should add before we wrap it up?
I mean, you said force with this full moon eclipse. It like doesn't have to force it. You can just willingly walk through that door. It's like the universe will like, you can either shove you or you can like walk in looking like a diva. So you get to choose how this energy is going to propel you. If you want it to be like a nice gentle wind, like blowing your hair, or if you want to be like face in the mud. Either way, the universe is going to give you that push. So just make sure that you allow yourself to be taken in a more beautiful way versus a face in the mud.
Yeah. Don't fight the flow. This goes back to the last episode. It's like the water, let the water carry you. Holy shit, y'all. All right, Lizzie, you got anything to add before we wrap her up?
I don't think I do, actually. I think that was all beautifully said. And I just hope that, once again, I think this will be my catchphrase, is be gentle with yourself. Like, all of this is us giving you guidance, and it doesn't have to be the way we describe it. It's all about your personal experience. So you move through this uniquely. So just be gentle. Don't put expectations on yourself. And I think that kind of echoes what Matt was saying anyways. It's not a forceful thing. It's really better to just surrender to yourself. And, this is life, guys. Like, our awareness is in the here and now. So, yeah.
And be gentle to others, because I said this a couple episodes ago. It's so important. Like, everything we just talked about is also happening to every fucking person here. So we're all going through our like struggles with how we care for ourselves or others, or like, this is, Capricorn shit. Daddy issues are coming up. This is also like white supremacy issues. And then we got the fucking Cancer thing. It's motherhood shit. It's like, there's so much, 5, 6, 100 planets in retrograde at once. Like, this is meltdown worthy information. So like, just remember that when other people are also freaking out, or if people aren't ready to talk, it's because they don't know how to even identify what they're going through. It's just, we're all going through it. It's not just the people listening. So extend grace and compassion to everyone. If you are interested in joining us for a second cup of tea, we are going to catch you on Patreon. I think we're good, eh?
Yeah. So see you there, guys.
Have a good one.
Bye.